Indicators right now is also the day today. And so what are trading indicators? I view them as description for trading, not necessarily entries and exits, but more looking at them to describe the price action like it is right now in First Solar. So the price action has been down. Let's say we can use the RSI for example here. So RSI is going to tell us overbought and oversold, overbought towards the top end, oversold towards the bottom end, right? And then a lot of times what it's going to tell me is if this is on a declining action, right? Declining action, meaning that we're going from overbought to oversold, starting to bounce back. I'm looking for this to decline back to the 30s, back to the 20s. So what can that give me? That can give me more what I like to talk about, which is conviction. Conviction in trades is a lot of times what I'm looking for to size up into a trade and tackle it down. So indicators to me are not necessarily, we're not intended to be used for entries and exits, but more description on what is exactly happening to help us better understand the price action. How do you see indicators, Scott?
So the best indicator for me is what's happening right here, right now with price. It's not necessarily something that you can put on the chart. So I use the NASDAQ a lot whenever I'm in a play, and small caps work as well. Sometimes when NASDAQ dumps, the small cap will, in timing wise, will go as well. But yeah, generally it's that kind of confluence like you've been looking at all morning with FSLR and looking at the Qs. You're using the Qs as an indicator to give you an idea of what's going to happen with FSLR, and that's kind of what I use. I do love the VWAP. I love the VWAP. I do love just standard moving averages or exponential moving averages, I should say, just to give me an idea of what everybody else is doing. And either if what everyone else is doing is at the same time I want to do that same thing, then great. But sometimes it's like what everyone else is doing and I'm looking to do the opposite. I do use those indicators. VWAP's my favorite, and the moving averages as well as Liquid Vision, of course, because that's the best indicator you could ever get.
Hey, you know it, guys. All right, back in the hot seat, Scott. What are you looking at? What you got there?
So Ralph Lauren, just looking at the kind of 10 minutes, what's been going on. We zoom out a little bit further. These lows down here, right? These lows coming off. First swing, always important for me in terms of what we're looking at. And the idea is we're trading this gap if we can, right? You're asking me, obviously, we are at 173. This is a benchmark for me. It should be an area of resistance for a full pullback to a buy side pull. That buy side pull currently is sitting about 169. There's a lower one because we had those earnings and we pumped up off those earnings, right? So there is a lower one down here at 162. If we crack 168 or 167 there, we could fill this gap back down to where we come from. But what it was doing prior to those earnings seems to have just continued if we not ignore that spike down and the pump back up to where we was. For me, I have a benchmark 2 sitting up there. It's not normally a quick thing with these kind of stocks. With small caps, this can happen in a day or 2 or 3 to get up to benchmark. It can happen in one pre-market session on small caps. But with these, it could take a little bit longer. So I'd be looking for kind of these pullbacks to the pink moving averages and the buy side pulls to hold for opportunities to long. Obviously, the risk is that first attempt there at 168. If that fails, that we fill a gap. Ultimately, just looking for a pullback to get into that long and hoping for the 182.50 or the 187.50 kind of area to get to. That's Ralph Lauren.
All right. I'm also watching an interesting one today. It's a newer play. Have you heard about Viking Holdings, Scott? You know what this one is? Yeah, it's a cruise line, of course. You guys know it.
Yeah.
This is a brand new one, guys, and it's been trading, guys. So it's something that I'll definitely be watching. Can it get back above 31? We'll see. VIK. I'm also taking a look at the cruise lines together, right? Because if that one wants to jump, probably the cruise lines will jump with it too. I think one thing that can help the cruise lines as of late is prices on oil starting to come down, right? And if that can help, well, that's definitely something to watch for. We're at 78s, right? We were above 85 in April 4th. Now we're battling just to try to get back up above 80. So maybe this actually leaves room for us to make our way back to 72s and 70 on WTI on crude. and start to see these stocks get a little bit of a lift off of that, right? Cheaper oil usually helps these out. So we'll see what happens now. Can this start to get going on the weekly? I'll see what happens on Carnival Cruise Line, NCLH, right? And of course, the leader in the bunch, RCL, that can't be stopped, man. I still remember when I wanted to buy this stock after I went on a cruise myself back in May. Here, right over here in 2020, right after that, kind of came back down. May 22, I went on a cruise and boom, Royal Caribbean started kicking off. And I just had some family member come back on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and they said it was just as popular as it's ever been, man. So I don't see this stopping anytime soon. We'll see what happens in some leisure plays. Airbnb getting an upgrade today tells me also that I want to watch this space. So hey, we'll see what happens on Airbnb. American Airlines came back down to that 14 where we played it. I even played it on this 14 break. It's back to 14. I might try to go after it today. We'll see what we get. All right, catching up some action in the chat. What's going on out there, guys? How are we doing?
Can we look at Bitex there for Ralph? What have we got there? Hey, Scott C, how are you doing? That's right. Quick look at Bitex then. Let's see what we've got. In terms of liquidity pools, we've just been in one a few days back for the sell side. So that's the sell side up there currently. Looks like it's currently in control, doesn't it? And then to the buy side, let's see how these have been working. So from the low to the high there, one here. So we're going to acknowledge that. Second one put in. Yep, that's fine. So we're just moving along now to see where that next one is. This one we missed, right? So we didn't come back for it, didn't need it. So now we're looking at this guy here around 41.5 to 38 on the buy side. So buy side liquidity sitting just below where we are. To see if we can get back down there. So I'd prefer kind of 41.5, push in perhaps 40.5, and then to work our way out of it to either retest this sell side liquidity pool or to go and try and break it with more momentum coming in above 52. But at the minute, kind of stuck between the two. So just looking for a further dip in there for a bit more edge on BITX there for you, Ralph.
All right, traders, like always, we're going to keep battling with you guys. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll keep getting after it. And of course, don't miss the event June 3rd. I've thrown the link up plenty of times, but if for some reason you missed it, check the description below. It'll be there, and we will be back tomorrow. Like always, guys, keep the battle in the markets. And like always, it's not one way, but hey, who knows? Maybe we'll end up green. Keep battling out there, guys. You guys know where you're at. Trade the pool, guys. Hit the like.